Hello and welcome back to Magic Partners Live. Subscribe and give us a big thumbs up if you love the video. And next to me, I have Chase. Next to me, I have Chase from Disneyland Today.net, of course, and Bryan from Bryan's Magic Life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show.
I don't know it.
Yeah, it's not even supposed to be there. So that club right there was the only place in Disneyland where they served alcohol. That is about to change very, very soon with the opening of Blue Bayou, which is going to serve alcohol. Don't know what sort of alcohol they're going to serve, but probably a welcome.
I can tell you.
Oh, see, the person who knows.
I can tell you.
Okay.
So the Blue Bayou is getting a series of beer, sparkling wine, and New Orleans signature drink, the Hurricane. It's really yummy. It's a combination of rums and fruit juices and just sounds absolutely delicious. And this is apparently a staple drink that they actually make in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yep.
And it's coming to Disneyland, so that will be the big drink over at the Blue Bayou. And so that opens on the, I want to say it's the 27th.
News and what else is opening up in terms of
big one that stood out to me is, and I didn't know how they were going to do it, is the alfresco tasting terrace, which is right there at the top of those three. And that was a annual pass holder exclusive dining area. So you couldn't go up there unless one member of your party had a annual pass. And now they're making it like a legacy pass holder thing where you still have to, I guess, produce the card if you have it. And you'll be able to go up there for some. There aren't full meals served. It's more of like a appetizer, hors d'oeuvre, and cocktail drinks kind of area. But it's really, really nice. It sits over the winery that they have, and it looks right over Pixar Pier. So it's a nice, shady, quiet spot to, kind of just relax and hang out for a bit. Before you go back into the hustle and bustle of the parks.
Awesome. So that's some really exciting news there, and more of Disneyland. Disney is really exciting. I love it how they do that. Just quick little stories and to excite fans to go back to the parks. And they also did one on DCA as well, which is very cute and very nice to see. That's great. Thanks for that, Chase.
Sure.
So let's move over now to the other happiest place on earth, which is Disney World. And there's been a big announcement there overnight, and that was the fact that we don't have to wear face masks in Disney World outdoors anymore. Now, I wanted to talk to you about this, Bryan. What's been the reaction over there? And have you been in the parks yet when the face masks are off, or is it about to happen, or has it happened already?
Tell us a bit about. Yeah, that change happened today. So they announced it last night, starting today, that when you're outdoors in common areas, walking around, you don't have to have your face mask. They're not required. You can still wear them if you feel more comfortable wearing face masks, of course. They're not like banned or anything, so that's also good. And from what I've seen, it's about 50-50 on the people that are not wearing them versus people wearing them. There's still a bunch of people wearing them from videos and pictures I've seen today. I myself have not been to the parks yet since that started, because that was just today. I'll be back in the parks on Tuesday at Magic Kingdom though.
Oh, okay, great. And yeah, so you say not everyone has taken them off outdoors yet, so still a lot of people quite nervous about taking off a face mask, I guess.
There's still definitely some hesitancy. There's been reactions on both sides. Some saying it's way too early, others saying finally. So I think you're seeing that mixed reaction, and you're going to see. I think you're still going to see a fair bit of people still wearing the mask until they feel safe, I guess would be the best word.
Yep.
One of my really good friends who is a cast member thinks it's one of those ones where it's too early. The cast members do have to wear them no matter what, and you do have them back on if you're going inside.
Yeah, you do. And how are they checking? So is that just for people who've been vaccinated, or is that for everybody that can take them off?
It's for everybody.
Is it? Okay.
They don't have any. Yeah, they're not checking to see if anyone's vaccinated or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's just for everybody. But yeah, like Chase said, if you're going in a store, if you're in line starting at the entrance of the queue for the line until you get off the ride and outside again, you have to be wearing that mask. If you're going in a restaurant or in any stores, you have to be wearing that face mask. And they do have cast members at the entrances reminding you.
Yep. Because the CDC have released a blanket over across the states now that if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask outdoors, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder how they'd be checking up whether you'd been vaccinated or not. Have you guys got some sort of vaccination passport on your phones or something like that? Yep, that they can check.
I have the card from when I got vaccinated, but I don't have anything on my phone. And as far as I know, I don't see anybody checking for it, at least not in Florida. Because in Florida, our governor, he signed a bill that nobody can tell you where you can and can't go based on whether you're vaccinated or not. They can't do a vaccine passport anywhere, at least in the state of Florida.
So they see it as an invasion of privacy, maybe.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yep.
It's not. It is not an invasion of privacy.
Oh, it's not. It's just what they see it as. They see it as an invasion of your privacy, basically.
Yeah, and it's for me, I kind of trust Disney if they think it's safe. I mean, they've been incredibly safe through this. I don't think that there's been a case in any of the Disney parks in the States. I know there has been one in Hong Kong, maybe related, but I really think that they've been responsible and safe through the whole pandemic. So you kind of think that they're doing the right thing, but and the fact that people are still wearing masks means you've got that choice. If you don't feel like you're comfortable not wearing it just yet, then I guess those people, if they haven't been vaccinated, are being a little bit responsible as well. So that's good to see.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good to see at the end of the day. And how was the part? I mean, I noticed you did a vlog in Animal Kingdom. We saw that come out yesterday. How did you go over there? How's the crowd levels? What's the feeling over in the parks right now?
Pretty good. The crowd levels weren't too bad. I was there. What was that? Thursday, I think, is when I was there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Levels weren't too terrible. Obviously, there's always going to be a lot of people at Walt Disney World, but it was fairly manageable. I think the longest I waited for anything was 30 minutes, and that was for the safari.
Okay, yeah.
That's awesome.
There wasn't a lot that I got to do, though. It did start raining, but for everything that I did do, definitely people are going to want to check that out on the vlog for sure. But yeah, we went on Kilimanjaro Safari, and we went on Expedition Everest, and we just did some walking around and looked at the park basically and the crowd levels, and I even found a cool new merchandise item. So got to check out the vlog to see what that is.
Yeah, so
you got a compliment. You got a compliment on our Instagram for your photo of the Tree of Life. By the way,
did I? Awesome.
Yeah, you did. It's like, the person following us is like, great picture of the Tree of Life. She's like, I love it.
Yeah, I have a lot more pictures that I need to post up there. So there's a lot more awesome pictures to come from Animal Kingdom, definitely.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
And once again, a reminder, guys, Brian's Magic Life, please subscribe and give him a big thumbs up. He's in the parks we're in Disney World every week. And it's a great perspective from Brian, great vlogger. So make sure you head over there to Brian's Magic Life. And this week you have to see what the one thing is. The one thing.
I want to dance with Timon. It's like awesome little dance.
Yeah. Okay.
My secret is after I put down the camera, I started dancing.
You guys make me laugh. All right. Now, I just want to move over to what we keep hearing about. Like, I almost think that Disney are extremely proud of this new cruise ship, the Wish. We got a deck party this week, a virtual deck party. And also learnt that, when I lined it up, you can actually get married in the Disney Wish as well, in the grand foyer. So that would be pretty exciting. But the thing I really liked that I saw from Disney Parks blog this week is the new funnel suite. Now, this suite is inbuilt into the funnel, which isn't an active working funnel. Only one of the funnels on the Disney cruise ships actually is working. But this looks absolutely fantastic, this suite. What do you guys think? I mean, awesome. Look at that. I mean, would you love to stay there?
I mean, that's like...
I'd love to stay there. That's amazing.
That is like, I mean, seriously, that's like somebody, you know, like you would imagine that would be in some like movie star's mansion, like their house. Like it looks like somebody's house. It's so cool.
Yeah, and look, on Disneyland Today, I don't know, you did actually tell us the latest pricing as well, Chase, to get on the cruise ship. So what are we sort of, if we're going on a five-night cruise, what are we talking in terms of cost?
It'd be like right there, as you can see, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. It's about like, it's just under $5,600 for one person for the 5-night cruise over to the Bahamas.
It is pretty pricey, isn't it? And what
it does come down after that maiden voyage, though, as you can see, the 3 and 4 day are pretty reasonable.
Yeah, so they're looking. I mean, it'd be a special cruise to be on the first one, and I'm guessing they do a lot of special things. I'm remembering when they launched the Fantasy. Definitely. I remember when they launched the Fantasy, they had Mariah Carey there, you know, singing and all that sort of stuff. So I'm guessing they'll do something like that again.
Wow.
Especially as you know, they haven't been cruising for so long. I think a lot of people are excited to get back on a cruise ship again. Definitely.
Sure.
But I feel like,
get on one.
Yeah, but I feel like it's probably the most challenging place to guard against the pandemic. I mean, with people getting so close, being so close to each other, and you know, in rooms and all that sort of thing. So, I think it is a big challenge to go cruising again. But I think I get the feeling next year when they're thinking about leaving in May 2022, I think we might have some sort of control over. Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? It's been a real 2-year thing, and we all want to get back to some sort of normality. So there it is.
I think it's getting there. I think we're quickly getting there.
Yeah, I think
so. Look, there's lots of vaccinations happening. The trouble with, I think the biggest trouble is with some of the third world countries, we're going to have to support them. And I think the governments of the world are starting to do that, support them in a way where they can get it under control just as quickly as everyone else can. And, you know,
absolutely,
we've seen the issues over in India of late. But what I like seeing is, you know, a lot of governments around the world jumping on and sending them supplies and sending them vaccinations so they can get it under control. So that's fantastic news. And that's, that's the way we're all going to get back to normal. The best thing about this, we've all worked together, all nations around the world, to get this thing under control. And I think in that way, it's been a good experience. So,
yes.
So the Disney Wish, really looking forward to that ship. It looks like it's going to be the best thing that Disney's cruise lines have ever done. There's even a park type attraction on it, which is a water slide. It looks like Mickey's Runaway Railroad a bit, and that looks like it's going to be fantastic.
A little bit,
yeah.
Mouse.
Yeah. So
I'm just wondering what kind of mechanism they have to have the go up. It's like, so whatever is underneath that boat, I'm imagining it's got to be something like what they use Splash Mountain or something like that, because in this case they were going up like the slide, almost like you see in any type of water ride
coaster.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
and so I'm really interested to see how they have them go up, because it's one thing to have a solid ride vehicle beneath you.
Yeah.
In this case, you're in an inflatable, like, little
raft
pool thing. So,
yeah.
So, what about kids sticking their feet?
Around the world that have similar things.
Right. Okay. And I'm
just kind of curious about how it's done.
And it might be a track system, Chase, that you come out of the water and it's sort of like a flat escalator with rubber on it, say, that grips it and pulls you up. But it's going to be extreme. That I'm looking forward to seeing, like, on someone's video.
I hope someone takes a GoPro on it or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that Disney will release some sort of ride along when it comes out. Yeah, so that'd be fantastic to see. I really can't wait to see that. The Disney Wish, great ship. Just wanted to, I know we talked about this last week, just wanted to flick back to Disney World and talk about the Lion King spectacular coming back to Animal Kingdom. Have you been to see it since it started again, Bryan? Or
so that was my whole reason for going to Animal Kingdom this past week, and I could not get in.
Right.
You have to be there like... because of the limited capacity, you have to be there like an hour to 2 hours ahead of each show, basically.
Yep.
And then, so my plan was to go to the 5 o'clock showing once I found that out. And around 3 o'clock is when it started pouring and would not let up. And so I didn't get over there in time.
Right.
And then I was soaked and I didn't have a change of clothes or anything. So unfortunately I had to go home at that point, but I could not get
bummer.
It was too many people want to go, which is, hey, that's great for the show. I'm glad so many people are happy and excited to see it.
Yeah.
I also am happy and excited to see it. I need to make sure I can maybe I'll hop over there this week to try and just wait in line for it one day. Yeah,
for sure. Look, it's a great show. I've seen it personally. Fantastic to see something like that come back. And while we're talking about sort of that sort of thing, I just wanted to talk about something else that's opening up in September, and that is the Broadway, Disney on Broadway. So 2 shows opening up in September. The fantastic show, The Lion King, and also Aladdin's back as well. So
I love The Lion King.
The Lion King.
I've seen that twice.
It's fantastic to see theatre coming back. And just to make a comment here, I think that will maybe bring the movie theaters back. Maybe towards fall, we're going to see movie theaters come back and people kind of thinking they can go into them. I think from what I've seen, there's a few movies coming out that's sort of going to do a 3 or 4 week season before they hit streaming services. So I think that's really good because, going to the movies is a real experience, and it's good to see pictures back in the theater before they hit streaming services. I think I'm hoping that, we haven't seen the end of it, so it's good to see that theaters are actually coming back. So I think that's really great. Any comments from you guys regarding all that?
If Aladdin is anything like what they had at the Hyperion in California Adventure, it's pretty amazing. The genie in over at Adventure was absolutely fantastic, and it was like, I can't remember the exact joke he said, but we were all like kind of vaguely applauding about something he just said, and he's like, wow, he's like, this group is like, like what happens when you empty out like he either said like, I think it was like a Justin Bieber concert, and so it's like he's like, this kind of reaction is what I expected from like a Justin Bieber concert, and you're like, and then everybody just started cracking up because it was a totally modern joke for a very, very, classic Disney production. And I never did get to see Frozen at the hype. Aladdin was quite good. And they're good half-hour to 45-minute shows. So been there for a while. You're in a legit over on... it's just as you go to the end of Buena Vista Street there. It's right there on the right.
Yeah. What I can't remember last time I was like, this is years ago. Aladdin was in there, and we saw Aladdin, and that was fantastic. As well inside Disneyland. They do actually have productions on the cruise ships as well, which are very, very similar. Hey, Zane. So
I'm sorry, I've got a friend staying over with their dogs, and he's not a fan of these dogs. So. Oh,
okay, that's all right. Poor Zane. Poor
it's
Zane.
Okay, buddy. It's all right, bud. It's okay. I know, it's okay.
So, this week again, we saw the Bad Batch come out. With episode 3.
Yes, 3.
So talk us through it, Chase. I know you love this show. Talk us through it. Tell us all about what happened.
I really liked this one because, again, it really shows a deep connection with Hunter and Omega.
Yep.
And the two of them are a great pair. If anything, this kind of thing, this kind of relationship that they have is almost what you would see if there was ever a time that, a clone could officially retire safely without being, in danger. I think it would be like a type of thing where he totally takes her in, like, adopts her into this, type of thing. Like, you never imagine any of them really settling down, with the exception of the one that we saw in, I believe, episode 2. So, he was able to settle down. He had a wife and kids, and you don't really see that with the Bad Batch because they're so wanted. But I think Hunter and Omega just make this perfect team. And so, she saved his life, and is just a beautiful, compliment to the rest of the interactions that she's had with the rest of the team. And also another big testament to just how much of a softie Wrecker is. At the end, when she gets her room, he's like, ta-da! And she's all like, oh, and he's all like, you like it, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
He
and
was
what do
like,
you
I
think?
did good.
Yeah, what do you think of the Crosshair factor? Do you think this is going to be a quest to save Crosshair now? I mean, I know he's turned to the dark side. We've established that's not his fault because of the chip in his head. But do you think the team have suggested that things will be about, about Crosshair and pulling him away from what's happening there? Pretty sinister. Pretty sinister scene with him ordering the other troopers to take out civilians that were trying to escape. But, we see the rest of the Bad Batch saying that it's not his fault, and that I feel like that will be a quest for them to try and save Crosshair and bring him back to the group. What do you guys think about that sort of theory of mine?
I like that
Go
theory.
ahead,
Definitely.
Brian.
I think you're right on it, John. I think there's going to be an arc where they're going to try to save him from that and hit that's in his head. That's making him follow these orders. So if they're successful, who knows? But yeah, I think we could see something like that happen for sure.
And another thing with the Empire is we're seeing the sort of demise of the clones moving into conscripted and enlisted normal folk from around the galaxy. So for the first time, we're kind of seeing that transition from the Clone War to the Empire's soldier, the Stormtrooper. That is fascinating. That's fascinating for me to see, because you've always wondered how we got from clones to
non-clones,
to non-clones, to the stormtroopers
to an
themselves.
elite force.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, it's like, even though you talk about the chip and everything and all that, I just don't feel for Crosshair at all like what I felt for Fives. So in the first of the Clone Wars series, in the run of seasons, I really felt for Fives, because he was so, it's like no one seemed to believe him, and it's like, it's like, I know what's going on, something's wrong, and he just he snapped. But it was like Rex was like the only one who seemed to really like believe him, that something wrong. And so that scene with Rex and Fives, just like, oh my gosh, I was bawling like crazy. But I don't feel for like I felt for Fives, only because he seems so into this, a good soldier follows orders, that I don't see him being redeemed. I think he's either going to get killed, or he's just they're going to go their separate ways, and he'll always kind of be following that type of thing. Like, maybe they'll disappear, and he's always kind of hunting them in the background. But I don't feel sorry for Crosshair. I really am not a fan.
So you kind of think that they've set him up as a friend turning to evil. It kind of makes it even worse, that you're being betrayed by who once was such a friend. So you're kind of thinking they're taking that tack rather than someone that they could or would save. It's interesting to see how it develops and how it moves on from there. It's a great watch, everyone. I really believe it's going to be a great series. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. We're looking forward to Loki sort of being on at the same time. Then we've got two things to watch every week. Although some sort of teenagers and stuff would say they're probably watching the Mighty Ducks at the moment. You guys had a look at that one at all?
I have. I love that show.
Let me see if I can bring it up here.
So watching.
I wasn't even a fan of the I wasn't
first
even
ones?
a fan of the movies, honestly.
Oh, see, I grew up loving those movies, and yeah,
Yeah.
the Game Changers. It's pretty fun, definitely.
Yeah.
You got a new batch of kids, and um, the Ducks aren't what they used to be. The Ducks are kind of like these bad guys now.
Yeah.
So
Interesting, isn't it?
the
Yeah.
the
To
one
see
kid
that.
gets thrown off the team, and they go and start their own team, and
Yep.
Gordy is helping that team, and not the Ducks, because um, the
They,
Ducks kind of moved on without Gordon.
yeah. So yeah, look, I've watched a few episodes, and I have to say, when I was growing up, I was watching them as well. So yeah, it's interesting to see what they're doing on Disney Plus with a lot of
Yeah.
new series as well. They've also brought out this Big Shot as well, which I don't seem to be able to get into that one, but it looks pretty good.
My mom likes it.
Does she? Right.
Yeah, my
That's
mom
good.
likes it.
Oh, that's good. It's kind of like another sporting thing. So
Yeah.
I guess if you're sort of into the Ducks, you could probably get into that as well.
See, I like the Ducks, but I couldn't get into Big Shot.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends on the sport.
Maybe it does. Maybe
I guess.
you're just an ice hockey fan at heart. Being over in Florida though, and there must not be too much ice hockey going on.
See, I like basketball. I'm not the biggest fan of hockey, but I love basketball. So maybe that's why I like the shows, because I don't necessarily like hockey, so I can like the show for what it is, instead of like, it being all about hockey.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Well, it's just, hockey in general is just, sort of weird because, of course, with the, which are now I don't know if they went from being Anaheim to just being all of California. So the Ducks, the actual team was created after the movie came out, the first movie. And then, of course, over here in Arizona, it's and yet the hockey team, which up of Canadian. So I don't know. It's just one of those things.
So moving away from all that, also wanted to talk about what went on this week. And we had a quarter two earnings report from Disney. Just look, it was pretty much to be expected that the parks would be down. I don't see how all these people reporting on saying, "Oh, the parks are down." Like, surprise, surprise. Yeah, the parks are down. We've had a thing called a pandemic. And then we have a look at the streaming earnings. That's a little bit down on what they kind of expected as well. But moving towards the next quarter, they're saying things will start to pick up. And okay, business is down. We're not getting so many people into the parks, but it's picking up as park revenues. But as things go, I think Disney's going to come through the pandemic and come through it well. I don't think they're going anywhere. So
yeah, no, I don't think they're going anywhere either. It hurt them to have Disneyland closed for so long.
Yeah.
A couple of the other parks closed for the cruise lines have been down for over a year now. So of course they're having those downtimes, but they're going to come right back through it even stronger. Once everything's back up and running.
Yeah, and they're talking about the non-wearing of face masks will really help things in the parks. Just talking about that as well, Chase, how soon before you think that'll happen in Disneyland? Do you think we're going to be waiting a while? What's the, I know Governor Newsom's a completely different guy to the governor over in Florida. He seems to, sort of err on the safe side. But can he stop, if Disneyland decided that they wanted to pass a rule for no mask wearing, say, outside, can he stop them from doing that in the state? And do you think he would?
interesting thing about Newsom is it's like he was more interested in keeping things under tight lock and key for as long as possible, where DeSantis over in Florida is like, let's get things back to normal as soon as possible. Let's get the masks off. Let's have our social gatherings and all that kind of stuff. So it's, yeah, two very different ends of the spectrum. But I think Disney is over on the West Coast is being very observant and cautious about what DC is saying, what's being released. You know, it's, hey, yeah, you can have masks off, but Disney is like, we're over on the West Coast, we're not quite there yet, and capacity is still at its 25%. So I think we'll see that for a while. I don't quite see them jumping at the chance to 35%, but I'm guessing it will start to get, we will start to see the park capacity go up once out-of-state visitors are allowed back at the park, which to me looks like going to be June 15th when they drop the restrictions in the state of California. They'll no longer be using the color tier system, and it looks like they'll be able to say, hey, now we have people coming in, because I think it would be ridiculous to have Avengers Campus open to just California residents when everybody's been dying to see it since July of last year. So, you know, I think that's when they're going to reopen things for out of state. And I think that's when we'll also see a little bit more normalcy. So it's like you may still have to do the masks inside like they're doing over in Florida. Mm-hmm. Yep. But we may also see capacity raised to 35% and all that jazz. So I'm hoping by June, by the end of June, things will be kind of getting back to normal for Disneyland.
And, you know, talking about Avengers Campus, we saw Bob Chapek say that it was going to be the most immersive park, or immersive land we've ever seen in a park so far. I think...
I'm very worried about them saying that, because they said that about Galaxy's Edge. They're like, you know, oh, people are going to come up to you and know you crashed the Falcon, and, you know, people are going to, you know, interact with you more, and there's going to be all this and all that. And I'm like, that would have been awesome. I was so pumped. And then there's like none of that.
Yeah. So excited, and it hasn't. It never.
I know. And so when they're talking about this is the most immersive, blah 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 blah, like, we'll see how it goes, guys. Because it would be really cool.
Salt.
Definitely interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, definitely. So, you know, and there is a book out about Galaxy's Edge now, which is quite an interesting read. It's all the concepts of what they were thinking of doing. One of the biggest things about Galaxy's Edge, which I was unhappy it wasn't there, was the Bantha ride. I think that would have been something awesome. They picture it in this book. I'll you know, next time we come on, I'll have to show you a few pictures out of it. But it talks about, you know, the Bantha ride, and it talks about lots of things that they were going to come to the park. Now, you know, I mean, not to say it won't. I think Galaxy's Edge is a place where you can continually be evolving things. Sure. You know, and something like the Bantha ride would be a ride that's, you know, not something you have to line up for, that other people can't see. It's a ride that everyone can see and take enjoyment out, even when you're not taking part in it. It's kind of like, you know, Dumbo ride is for Fantasyland.
I got just the weirdest picture when you said that. I'm like, I'm all seeing like these
Banthas.
Flying Banthas.
Okay. But yeah, that's the type of thing that I think Galaxy's Edge is missing. That ride that everyone can see. Also, the other thing is, we'd like to see more droids moving around. I'd love to see R2-D2 out more. I'd love to see a BB-8 rolling around. I'd love to see C-3PO walking around as well. And, they could have someone walking around with them. I know they're worried about, sort of people overtaking that character or whatever. But I think I think it would be good just to have a few of those interactive, a few more characters out in Galaxy's Edge that people would love to see. I mean, you need to stay in that sort of time frame that they're talking about. But, we don't expect to see Darth Vader walking around or anything like that, but I think a few more droids than that would be great to see. But I think it's something
kind of
that they
put things into... To kind of put things into perspective, what you said just there is,
Yep.
I was watching a kind of guide to Avengers Campus from Jack at DSNY Newscast.
Yep.
And he was mentioning, of course, the news that we've received before is that Avengers Campus is not on any MCU timeline. It's not on the...
Yep.
So there is no like pre-snap, post-snap. It's just like It's just there, and it's like own little universe. Whereas that was something that they didn't. I don't think they quite planned for with Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And now they're consciously thinking about it for Avengers Campus. They'll be able to kind of mix and match these characters who are, gone, like Stark, like Black Panther. They'll be able to have them all mingling around, and with the idea that this doesn't exist on a timeline, it's just all our favorite characters together, whereas being on Batuu kind of has a sequel feel to it. So putting characters other than who made it into the sequels, like Chewbacca, wouldn't quite make sense. Which is why you still see like Boba Fett in Tomorrowland, and Phasma and her train of stormtroopers, and so they've actively tried to. But I don't know if there's much that they can do now for Galaxy's Edge since it fits in a timeline.
Yeah, because if they change the timeline now, they'd obviously have to change what's arguably the best ride in the world, Rise of the Resistance. I think they possibly could change it. It would cost a bit, but they could change it. I mean, there has been a few ideas, I guess, that they would want to move the timeline in between the original movies and the sequel set of movies. So we get the Mandalorian, we get the sort of, to get a few clone troopers walking around, all that sort of stuff. So there's been talk of that. It would take a lot to change. I think you'd have to see a park closure. Well, a closure of Galaxy's Edge for a little while to turn that around. But in terms of characters, they seem to be building a MCU type universe around that time period. With Mandalorian, you've got Ahsoka, you've got the Bad Batch, just to name a few that are coming through. That seems like we're going to get attachments through all those series and movies with that time period. So they're placing a fair bit of importance on it at this point in time. So you never know that things could change. And just by changing, Millennium Falcon wouldn't be that hard to change. Rise of the Resistance for sure. But in terms of just the park itself, you could just change who's walking around and the characters to change to that time period. But the other thing it might do, and I'm rambling a bit here, but the other thing it might do is sort of send an admission that they were kind of wrong about the timeline as well. So they probably won't want to do that as well. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future in Galaxy's Edge. I think in Disneyland they're probably looking to think about what's going on with Disney Forward. In the next few years. I think that'll be their concentration there. And we haven't heard much about Disney Forward lately, have we, Chase?
I've heard one thing, and that is that they're talking about in they talked about a restaurant that's Indiana Jones themed,
Right.
which is it's basically a flight hangar for one of the characters of Indiana Jones. And I don't recall if they said it was something that already existed over in Walt Disney World. Have you heard about anything like that, Bryan? It's a themed Indiana Jones restaurant. Is it over in Disney Springs?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
so
this is Lindsay's Hangar Bar.
Yep, that's it. That's it. They want to put that. They want to put that in Disneyland Forward. They're talking about making another one of those.
And that's actually in Disney Springs, isn't it, Bryan? That restaurant.
Yeah, that's in Disney Springs. Yeah.
So maybe that's something.
Why I wasn't thinking of it at first.
So maybe that's something they're thinking about for, the Disney Springs type shopping area they're planning for expansion, the expansion, which is kind of exciting to know that they're even thinking about that.
I just kind of wish that, it's like with this whole expansion, I just kind of wish it was like they weren't trying to copycat anything. I just wish it was something completely unique and that hasn't been seen at like Walt Disney World, so that we can get people who are like, oh, why would I go over to California and not have as much to do when I can go to Florida and have so much more to do? Yeah. So you need to kind of a distinguishing series of things to bring people in from the other parks instead of just sending them off to Florida, because the conversations that I see in some of the groups that I belong to are, why would I go to Disneyland if it's at Walt Disney World? I would rather go there. And I was like, no, please don't say that.
Yeah,
come and visit us.
As an outsider, if I can come on that, I think it's never swayed my decision to go to Disneyland because everything's over in Disney World. I think for me, Disneyland has its own special feeling, particularly because of the nostalgia that Walt actually walked the streets and lived there. So, if someone gave me the choice, I'd probably go Disneyland. Like, don't get me wrong, I've been to Disney World and was absolutely astounded by not only the friggin' size of the place, but it's just, if I can talk Australian, but it is an amazing place to be. But there's a special feeling when you go to Disneyland. And I think, for me, they're on an even par. I would definitely want to go to both, and I wouldn't say one would sort of draw me more than the other. I think, from an outsider's point of view, Disneyland has its special feeling when you go there. So yeah, I tend to disagree with you, Chase. I would agree with the fact that it would be nice to have some exclusivity in Disneyland, just to get a couple of rides that no one else has seen. It does worry me a little bit that they're going to follow along from what Tokyo Disney Sea is doing with the lands. But that's not set in stone. A lot can change from here to there. So it would be nice for them to sort of do some. I'm sure they'll do some subtle differences, but it would be nice to see an exclusive land that no one's kind of ever seen. But when they built Walt Disney World, they were saying that it was around the time that Walt passed, when they started on Magic Kingdom, so they definitely wanted to bring Disneyland to the East Coast in honor of him. So that's why they kind of built Magic Kingdom first.
Right.
The advantage that Disney World has is that it's got a lot more, surface area, a lot more space than what Disneyland has. It's very hard for Disneyland to expand, but I think this new expansion is very exciting, and there's a lot of space there sitting around the hotel over that side. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic development. If
you think about it, I think there were like 100 and I think there was say it was in the 140 acre realm of, speculation with all this added thing, and to kind of give you an idea of just the sheer size of it. Avengers Campus is probably about 4 acres ish. Yeah. And then, of course, like Galaxy's Edge is about 11 to 14 ish acres. So you're looking at a massive difference in size. I mean, it's just a tiny little section compared to what Disneyland Forward would be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you have a look on the map on your site, you've got some massive show buildings here around this area. Yeah. Let me point out. So massive show building there. So that's going to be quite a large show, like some sort of dark ride there. Over here as well, behind these mountain structures, you see there that looks like another massive dark ride. So, and over here as well.
At the entrance,
yeah. So what? Yeah. That could be shopping or it could be retail, I guess. But these definitely look like 2 new dark rides we're going to see. So it's really exciting. And then the monorail comes over here as well. So we're looking for a monorail stop, probably in here somewhere. So yeah, look, really exciting. Good to know that we're still seeing a few rumors and a few things come out, Chase. Thanks for letting us know about that.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, that's Disney Forward. And the first time Disneyland's really expanded for a long time. So very excited about that. And, we're pushing towards an hour again pretty easily here, guys.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about wrapping up the show so that we get the people here wanting for more. Wanting for more every time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to thank you guys for joining us today. Another fantastic show. Next week, we're looking at coming to you Sunday afternoon. We'll be scheduling the show halfway through the week. Just to let you guys know when that's going to happen. And there'll be lots more, of course, to talk about then. We're going to stay talking about Bad Batch right through the season. So make sure that you guys know that there's going to be spoilers in every show. We don't want to upset you if you haven't watched the show because, it only came out on Friday. I believe, Chase, you always get up at midnight to watch the show when it drops.
It really messed me up this time. It didn't before, but I was like, I'm watching this at midnight and then going to bed, and then I'm like, oh, I'm a day ahead of myself because I went to sleep. It's still the same day.
So that about wraps us up. Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next time around. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video to Magic Partners Live. Don't forget to